The Pergamon Museum is situated on the Museum Island in Berlin. The site was designed by Alfred Messel and Ludwig Hoffmann and was constructed in 20 years, from 1910 to 1930. The Pergamon Museum houses original-sized, reconstructed monumental buildings such as the Pergamon Altar and the Market Gate of Miletus, all consisting of parts transported from Turkey. The museum is subdivided into the Antiquity Collection, the Middle East Museum, and the Museum of Islamic Art. The museum is visited by approximately 1,135,000 people every year, making it the most visited art museum in Germany, and is one of the largest in the country. Origin. By the time the Kaiser Friedrich Museum on Museum Island had opened in 1904, it was clear that the museum was not large enough to host all of the art and archaeological treasures excavated under German supervision. Excavations were underway in Babylon, Uruk, Ashur, Miletus, Priene and Egypt, and objects from these sites could not be properly displayed within the existing German museum system. As early as 1907, Wilhelm von Bode, the director of the Kaiser Friedrich Wilhelm Museum, had plans to build a new museum nearby to accommodate ancient architecture, German post-antiquity art, and Middle Eastern and Islamic art. This large three-wing museum had been in planning since 1907, when Alfred Messel died in 1909. His close friend Ludwig Hoffmann took charge of construction, which began in 1910. The construction continued during the First World War and the Great Inflation of the 1920s. In 1930, the building hosting the four museums opened. The Pergamon Museum was severely damaged during the air attack on Berlin at the end of the Second World War. Many of the display objects were stored in safe places, and some of the large pieces were walled in for protection. In 1945, the Red Army collected all of the loose museum items, either as war booty or ostensibly, to rescue them from looting and fires then raging in Berlin. Not until 1958 were most of the objects returned to East Germany. Significant parts of the collection remain in Russia. Some are currently stored in the Pushkin Museum in Moscow and the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. The return of these items has been arranged in a treaty between Germany and Russia but, as of June 2003, is blocked by Russian restitution laws. Exhibition. Among the pieces the museum displays are the Pergamon Altar, Market Gate of Miletus, the Ishtar Gate and the Processional Way, Babylon, the Shatter Facade, the Meisner fragment from the Epic of Gilgamesh. Antiquity Collection. The collection goes back to the Prince-Electors, or Kurfürsten, of Brandenburg, who collected objects from antiquity. The collection began with an acquisition to the collection by a Roman archaeologist in 1698. It first became accessible to the public in 1830, when the Altes Museum was opened. The collection expanded greatly with the excavations in Olympia, Samos, Pergamon, Miletus, Priene, Magnesia, Cyprus and Didyma. This collection is divided between the Pergamon Museum and the Altes Museum. The collection contains sculpture from archaic to Hellenistic ages as well as artwork from Greek and Roman antiquity, architecture, sculptures, inscriptions, mosaics, bronzes, jewelry and pottery. The main exhibits of the Pergamon Altar from the 2nd century BC, with a 113 meters long sculptural frieze depicting the struggle of the gods and the giants, and the Gate of Miletus from Roman antiquity. As Germany was divided following the Second World War, so was the collection. The Pergamon Museum was reopened in 1959 in East Berlin, while what remained in West Berlin is on display in the Castle of Charlottenburg since 1995. Islamic Art Museum. When the Bode Museum was opened in 1904, a section for Islamic art was created which was later on included in the Pergamon Museum. Besides Islamic artwork from the 8th to the 19th century ranging from Spain to India, the main attraction is the Mshatta facade, which originates from an unfinished early Islamic desert palace located south of Amman in present-day Jordan. It was a gift from the Ottoman Sultan Abdul Hamid II to Emperor Wilhelm II of Germany. Parts of the eastern portion of the facade and the ruins of the structure of which it formed a part remain in Jordan. Another unique exhibition is the Aleppo Room. This area of the museum features a reception room from a broker's home in Aleppo, Syria that was commissioned during the Ottoman period. The Islamic Art Museum also regularly hosts temporary exhibitions of modern art from the Islamic world. In 2008, for example, Turkish Delight and Naksh. In 2008, part of the Kir collection of Edmund Unger, formerly housed in his home in Ham, Surrey, was placed on long-term loan to the museum for an initial period of 15 years. One of the most important post-war private collections of Islamic art, it covers the entire Islamic world, from medieval times to the 18th century. The collection includes carpets, textiles, illuminated manuscripts, book bindings, ceramics, metalware and rock crystal objects. The Middle East Museum. The Middle East Museum exhibition displays objects found by German archaeologists and others for the areas of Assyrian, Sumerian and Babylonian culture. Additionally, there are historical buildings, reliefs and lesser cultural objects and jewelry. The main display is the Ishtar Gate and the procession way of Babylon together with the throne room facade of Nebuchadrezzar II. The Vorder Asia Tish's Museum also displays the Mizna fragment from the Epic of Gilgamesh. Plans. The main plan for the museum island dictates an expansion of the Pergamon Museum, which will become the center of the museum complex. It will connect an Ois Museum, Boda Museum and Altar National Gallery and the new entrance building. The museum is partially closed for renovation since 2013. Until the reopening in 2019, the hall containing Pergamon Altar will remain closed to the general public. There was an architectural competition in 2000, won by Oswald Matthias Ungers from Cologne. The museum complex will be redeveloped according to his plan, which controversially proposes large alterations to a set of buildings unchanged since 1930. The current entrance building will replace the building in Aaron Hall, and an elevated walk will connect the buildings. The rebuilding was scheduled to begin in 2005 and end in 2010.